everyone. This is John Wen. Today is September 16, 2021. It's been a while we haven't made a video because we are busy with writing paper, doing experiment in the past few months. So I think right now we have finished one milestone, which is submit a paper to the Big Data Conference 2021. And now we're starting another journey. So I think it's a good time to come back to the track to make videos. In this way, you're able to rewatch a video whenever you have time and then give me some feedbacks if you can. So here is a highlights of the GAN progress since the past week. Right now we have 3 items in my hand. So the first item is about the journal version paper, which is based on the conference paper I've just submitted. So the progress is about 2% is estimated from the past week. So I will give more detail later. And the second item is about NWorkflow website integration, and this is very important to make sure that our NWorkflow can be workable either programmatically or graphically. So the estimated progress is about 5% since the past week. And last item is about prospector dissertation. I think I didn't put so much efforts since the past week, so no much updates, but I will catch up very soon. So here is updates more in detail. First item is that I downloaded TSC journal templates from its official website. So it took me some time to figure out the correct setting, which is a journal version paper, because you're also conference paper for this TSC. So spend me some time to find out how to correctly shows the journal version. So right now I think I'm good. Later I will migrate the conference paper to this one so that we're able to work from there. So the second item is I refactor the NWorkflow resource management code. So before we have several places to hard code the IP addresses so that we are able to read we are able to reach out to the cluster nodes. So we have several IP addresses. So the refactor is about where I put them all into a single JSON file, configuration file, so that in this way we have a central place to save all the data maybe can be changed in the future. So for example, like the IP addresses. So here is some code which is fetch this configuration from the base class of all the GPU resource management classes. So we just fetch them once, and every subclass can reuse at any time. So the third item is I read the code of the web implementations in DataView, and right now I'm getting better understanding on it. So I'm currently working on to create the jar files for NN tasks and make them viewable and draggable in website. So currently I'm encounter some errors. So here is a screenshot of the error, which is in Java it is a no such method exception. Basically it's in the linear layer workflow. Basically after I do some research online, I found out this error is about when you call the constructor, and the constructor will require some parameters but you didn't feed with, and then this error will come out. So that is normal because the linear layer ensure will have some parameter as input, but when I try to make the jar file, I try to eliminate the inputs, for example to make the constructor without any inputs, and I hard code the parameters inside the constructor, but that does not work at this moment as well. So I think I still need some time to debug this error and to make it work. So it spent me several days and to read the code and make this until now. And many thanks to Bai, and he helped to point out, for example, we need to add main method in a task or tasks whenever we want to make the jar file. So that is a big help on how to make the jar files for every task or every task in the future. So maybe I can show you the code briefly. So here is where the error is triggered, and whenever we are loading the tasks, which is a linear. Here is a linear task. It's not draggable at this moment. So the error is triggered on this line whenever we create, and this line is inside the method to get the number of ports. Basically, we are getting the input ports number, how many input ports, how many output ports, and here we're able to create a class and create an instance of the class as well. So basically, we'll create this linear linear layer class instance. So the error is triggered from here. Basically, it says maybe it's complaining there's some parameters you're not fitting with. So for sure here for this bunch of code we don't have any parameters to be fed into. So as I said, maybe we can transfer to the other workspace which I'm using to generate the jar files. So I think the procedure I'm generating the jar file is correct, because I also do another test on a regular task which is working fine, but it's not working fine with a n task, so that is the issue. So if you maybe it will take some time, but basically, as I said, in order to avoid or circumvent this issue, I try to make the arguments disappear from the inputs from the constructor. So I hard code the parameter inside the constructor. It still does not work. So it may still take me some time to make it work. So here is one example. I'm trying to generate a jar file. So you can see I create another t1.java. This is a regular task. It's workable, but for linear.java it does not work. So here is a previous one constructor. We have two parameters as inputs, but I also tried with to eliminate these inputs, but hard code inside still doesn't work at this moment. Also include all the models .java into this single project, and then to export this file, this linear.java, as a runnable jar file. So this is a story, but does not work so far, but I think I will spend some time later. And also, after I reading the code, I get a big picture on how to implement an workflow web version. So here is a kind of the high-level view of implementations. The first step is about to graphically construct a new network in the website. So this is currently what I'm doing right now. And the second step is to get the MX diagram from the website. So this is something we're going to retrieve from the website, and basically it's in a XML format. And I also get an example. So here is one example of the document we will get from this XML diagram. Sorry, MX diagram. So this is something we have to parse into something we know. So that's the next step. Translate the diagram to a workflow specification. Currently we have a single Java file which is translate the diagram to the workflow specification. So I think we can refer to that file, but for sure we have to make something new, or to create something new to be corresponding to the end workflow specification instead of the regular one. So after that, we are able to get an end workflow, and we can call the design method and then execute the end workflow. So this is a 4-step procedure I can currently bring up in my mind. So I think that's more clear to me how to make this workable. So I think that's pretty much for the updates of today. So hopefully I can address the issue or address a bug soon. So hopefully we can make that work. Thank you so much for your time. Until next time, happy coding, and see you next time.